the difficulty in dealing with uprooting. I don't think that any society in the world has uprooted corruption. What most places have tried to do is to minimize it and reduce its impact on the way that the national economies work. And I think that that has to be. But the goal will be continue the path that was begun, which is to create the legal framework that will impact on corruption. When I was Attorney General, we passed the Public Procurement Act, the Whistleblowers Act. Several pieces of legislation came into place, if fully enforced, would be very, very significant in the fight against corruption. If it is required that any time there's a public works of a certain size, then it should be won through a tendering process. If you're going to do it through sole sourcing, you've already lost one part of the handle on the fight against corruption. So the law is in place. But whether are you going to implement it or not? Yes. You'll make the clear decision. You're going to implement it. You're going to make the tendering for public works, public businesses, the norm, not the exception. The last 5 years, we've seen the thing turn the other way around, where virtually everything that has been done by the state has been done through a process of sole sourcing. Obviously, immediately, a very important handle in the fight against corruption has been loosened.
So, Overkwekuwili, that is all. Right. So, has sole sourcing been eliminated? That's the question. I think you made the statements when you were campaigning. You weren't president then. I'm not really sure whether you were president then. So these are some of the things you said. And unfortunately, I don't think sole sourcing has stopped. And the procurement procedures and the procurement aspect of governance leaves a lot to be desired. Ehona Katashisheni project still goes on there. It still goes on there. So Nana fix it. So you see, those people that are going around on social media still they don't get it. They still don't get it. They still say that the people should fix themselves. Are you for real? When there are issues to do with the procurement procedures in Ghana, and there is Katashisheni project going on there, how can the people fix themselves to fix that? It is political leadership that needs to fix their attitude towards leadership and good governance to fix that. So there are a lot of things going on around the political corridors of power that needs fixing. It's got nothing to do with the people. But unfortunately, what it does to the people is that it creates an impression in the entire society, say, Charlie, what is there for me to lose, not to be a saint? So, we keep saying this, a profanity. You have to fix things from the top. That is what people are asking. As well as many other pertinent concerns of the people. Basic things. What is good governance? Good governance is about meeting the basic needs of the people. Water, shelter, sanitation, education, healthcare. These are basic components of human existence in any modern society. You need to have empathy for poor people. especially in a country like a developing country like Ghana, that majority of the people struggle to make ends meet. They struggle to put food on the table. You need to have empathy when you go into political leadership. You have to be ready for this. This is a voluntary work. I keep saying, look, if you don't want people to criticize the way you conduct yourself as a leader, then go and open your bloody private business. That is what people do. Obi ko bie n'edwuma na ɔyɛ n'edwuma a Kwesi Twum, how many people even know him? And yet, despite Nadine said it resonate here, and the fact that Nebaye were the recently a publicity buyer, and people don't even know who Despite is. But these are business people who are doing their own business. Nobody questioned them about so many things, as long as they are paying their taxes to the state. And Adonko Bites, Dr. Tia, I didn't even know him. I heard of the Adonko Bites, but I didn't until Angel FM recently came on the scene that we have all these people that work there from Adom Multimedia moved there. And I'm Angel FM, all that stuff. But what I'm saying is that if you go into public service, you'll be scrutinized. Your leadership will be under scrutiny. You see, because going into political leadership, let me explain something here. Going into political leadership, right, it's a voluntary work, number one. Number two, you have to believe in yourself that you got certain qualities that will make you succeed. And I'm not going to go too much into details about those qualities, but the basic qualities that will make you succeed as a political leader is you need to have strong convictions that doesn't waver. Not only those strong convictions, but given the chance to lead officially, given the mandate, when the people entrust you with the power to lead them, you need to have the courage to express those convictions. I'll give you a typical example. A typical example is when Nanado's, made a recent one a year, when Nanado's sports ministers were caught up in a scandal of corruption somewhere there. We all know the story. The minister said it was the deputy minister who was responsible for the visa application of the people who were supposed to go to Australia or something. So if more people were given visas that they weren't supposed to go there, they become ghosts or something like that. The story you all know. Obviously, there was something wrong that went on there. And the deputy minister was in charge of that assignment. Nanado should have expressed the courage of his conviction, said, when he said, if you want to make money, go to the private sector. If you want to work with me in my government, it is about public service. These are the things that we heard and we got goosebumps and we believe Nanado is going to be different. But consistently, things happened in the last 4 years that deflated those cardinal principles that you claim these are going to be the cardinal principles with which we govern. It didn't happen. You couldn't sack the deputy sports minister. Why? So you may have some principles. Were they strong enough? And if they were strong, did you have the courage to express them? That is one aspect that defines a successful political leader and a one that is going to fail. Because You see, once you decide to go into political leadership, as I'm saying, it's a voluntary work. You're gonna have to be ready to step on toes for the good of all. You're gonna be ready to make enemies that they made for you. You didn't make them. They decide to become your enemies because when they step over the line, you are gonna make sure that they pay for it. So if you don't have that courage to step on people's toes, to enforce your convictions that you had before you went into political leadership, you're going to fail. That's one of the basic requirements of a successful political leader. Strong convictions and the courage to express those convictions. Those convictions will be if you step over the line that I set for my leadership, you face the music, irrespective of who you are. When you set these standards for the people that you surround yourself with to work with, it makes your work very easy for you. It makes it very, very easy for you. And unfortunately, this is where, with the greatest of respect, Nana Addo has been lackadaisical. I say, he is not the same person. He may not accept it, or people around him may find this difficult to swallow. But the Nana Addo that we knew as a deputy attorney general, like you're saying, he prosecuted one of his own colleagues, minister. You know, the one that I think one that went to prison eventually. He did that. That is not the same Nana Addo we have as president. Definitely, that's not the same Nana Addo. That is not the same Nana Addo. Because there are some of your ministers who should have been prosecuted. Yeah. And Nana Addo, you know it. The story is there. I'm not going to name any names. I mean, it doesn't make any difference to even name names now, right? We all know. You can tell me that in the last 4 years, all the scandals that has engulfed a few of your ministers, right? You don't think that any of them is as guilty as charged. You know and I know. So until we get a leader like that, we will keep struggling to create the kind of society that the people will eventually fall in place and conform to. Because the way it has to happen is that it has to happen from the top. The president needs to make sure that the people he appoints, they conform to certain standards. When you give someone a job, you need to establish a strict regime of performance targets. And you assess them. I mean, you see, when you have a vision and you appoint Minister for Monitoring and Evaluation, what did he do? Osiakoto. What did he do? What did he do for the last 4 years? Dr. I think Osiakoto was the Minister for Evaluation and Monitoring Services. What did he do? How impactful was his work? These are things that Nana Addo needs to accept that there were failures in that department, and then deal with it eventually. Other than that, this coming 4 years as well will be a failure. God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make our nation great and strong. God bless you for listening.